Verses 177 to 186 of the Song of Roland. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Joy Chan. The Song of Roland, Anonymous. Translated by Charles Kenneth Scott Moncrief. Verses 177 to 186. Roland is dead, his soul to heaven God bear. The Emperor to Roncesvalles doth fare. There was no path nor passage anywhere, nor of waste ground, no ell nor foot to spare, without a Frank or pagan lying there. Charles cries aloud, "Where are you, nephew fair? Where's the Archbishop and that Count Olivier? Where is Gérin and his comrade Gérard? Otis the Duke and the Count Berengier, and Ivory and Ive, so dear they were? What is become of Gascon Angelier, Sanson the Duke, and Ancey the fierce? Where's old Gerard of Roussillon? Oh, where the dozen peers I left behind me here? But what avail, since none can answer bear? God!" says the King, "now well may I despair. I was not here the first assault to share." Seeming enraged, his beard the King doth tear. Weep from their eyes barons and chevaliers. 1,000 score, they swoon upon the earth. Duke Neimes for them was moved with pity rare. No chevalier nor baron is there who pitifully weeps not for grief and dule. They mourn their sons, their brothers, their nephews, and their liege lords, and trusty friends and true. Upon the ground a many of them swoon. Thereon Duke Neimes doth act with wisdom proof. First before all he said to the Emperour: "See beforehand, a league from us or two, From the highways dust rising in our view. Pagans are there, and many them too. Canter therefore, vengeance upon them do." "Ah, God!" says Charles, "so far are they removed. Do right by me, my honour still renew. They've torn from me the flower of France the deuce." The King commands Gebrin and Otun, Tedbalt of Reims, also the Count Milun: "Guard me this field, these hills and valleys too. Let the dead lie, all as they are, unmoved. Let not approach lion nor any brute, Let not approach esquire nor any groom, For I forbid that any come thereto, Until God will that we return anew." These answer him sweetly, their love to prove: "Right, Emperour, dear sire, so will we do." 1,000 knights they keep in retinue. That Emperour bids trumpets sound again, Then canters forth with his great host so brave, Of Spanish men whose backs are turned their way. Franks one and all continue in their chase. When the King sees the light at even fade, On the green grass dismounting as he may, He kneels aground, to God the Lord doth pray, That the sun's course He will for him delay, Put off the night, and still prolong the day. An angel then, with him should reason make, Nimbly enough appeared to him and spake: "Charles, canter on, light needst not thou await. The flower of France, as God knows well, is slain. Thou canst be avenged upon that crimeful race." Upon that word mounts the Emperour again. For Charlemagne a great marvel God planned, Making the sun still in his course to stand. So pagans fled, and chased them well the Franks Through the Valley of Shadows, close in hand. Toward Sarraguce by force they chased them back, And as they went with killing blows attacked, Barred their highways, and every path they had. The river Sebre before them reared its bank. 'Twas very deep, marvellous current ran, No barge thereon, nor dromond, nor caland. A god of theirs invoked they, Tervagant, And then leapt in, but there no warrant had. The armed men more weighty were for that, Many of them down to the bottom sank. Down stream the rest floated as they might hap. So much water the luckiest of them drank, That all were drowned with marvellous keen pangs. "An evil day," cry Franks, "ye saw Rollant." When Charles sees that pagans all are dead, some of them slain, the greater part drowned, whereby great spoils his chevaliers collect, that gentle king upon his feet descends, kneels on the ground, his thanks to God presents. When he once more rise, the sun is set. Says the Emperour, "Time is to pitch our tents, to Roncesvalles too late to go again. Our horses are worn out and foundered. Unsaddle them, take bridles from their heads, and through these meads let them refreshment get." Answer the Franks, "Sire, you have spoken well." That Emperour hath chosen his bivouac. The Franks dismount in those deserted tracts. Their saddles take from off their horses' backs, bridles of gold from off their heads unstrap. Let them go free. There is enough fresh grass. No services can they render them, save that. Who is most tired sleeps on the ground stretched flat. Upon this night no sentinels keep watch. That Emperour is lying in a mead. By his head, so brave, he's placed his mighty spear. On such a night unarmed he will not be. He's donned his white hauberk with broidery, has laced his helm, jewelled with golden beads, girt on Joyeuse, there never was its peer, whereon each day 30 fresh hues appear. All of us know that lance, and well may speak, whereby our Lord was wounded on the tree. Charles, by God's grace, possessed its point of steel, his golden hilt he enshrined it underneath. By that honour and by that sanctity, the name Joyeuse was for that sword decreed. Barons of France may not forgetful be, whence comes the ensign "Monjoie" they cry at need. Wherefore no race against them can succeed. Clear was the night, the moon shone radiant. Charles laid him down, but sorrow for Roland, and Oliver, most heavy on him he had. For's dozen peers, for all the Frankish band, he had left dead in bloody Roncesvalles. He could not help but wept and waxed mad, and prayed to God to be their souls' warrant. Weary that king, or grief he's very sad. He falls on sleep, he can no more withstand. Through all those meads they slumber then, the Franks. Is not a horse can any longer stand, who would eat grass, he takes it lying flat. He has learned much, can understand their pangs. Charles, like a man worn out with labour, slept. Saint Gabriel the Lord to him hath sent, whom as a guard o'er the Emperour he set. Stood all night long that angel by his head. In a vision announced he to him then a battle should be fought against him yet. Significance of griefs demonstrated. Charles looked up towards the sky, and there thunders and winds and blowing gales beheld, and hurricanes and marvellous tempests. Lightnings and flames he saw in readiness, that speedily on all his people fell. Apple and ash, their spear shafts all burned, also their shields, e'en the golden bosses. Crumbled the shafts of their trenchant lances, crushed their hauberks and all their steel helmets. His chevaliers he saw in great distress. Bears and leopards would feed upon them next, adversaries, dragons, wyverns, serpents, griffins were there, 30,000 no less. Nor was there one but on some Frank it set. And the Franks cried, "Ah, Charlemagne, give help!" Wherefore the king much grief and pity felt. He'ld go to them, but was in duress kept. Out of a wood came a great lion then. 'Twas very proud and fierce and terrible. His body dear sought out and on him leapt, each in his arms wrestling, the other held. But he knew not which conquered, nor which fell. That Emperour woke not at all, but slept. And after that another vision came. Him seemed in France, at Aix on a terrace, and that he held a bruin by 2 chains. Out of Ardennes saw 30 bears that came, and each of them words as a man might, spake, said to him: "Sire, give him to us again. It is not right that he with you remain. He's of our kin, and we must lend him aid." A harrier fair ran out of his palace. Among them all the greatest bear assailed, and on the green grass beyond his friends some way. There saw the king marvellous give and take, but he knew not which fell, nor which o'ercame. The angel of God so much to him made plain. Charles slept on till the clear dawn of day. End of verses 177 to 186. Verses 187 to 214 of the Song of Roland. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Joy Chan. The Song of Roland, Anonymous. Translated by Charles Kenneth Scott Moncrief. Verses 187 to 214. King Marsilies, fleeing to Saragosse, dismounted there beneath an olive cool. His sword and sark and helm aside he put, on the green grass lay down in shame and gloom. For his right hand he'd lost, 'twas clean cut through. Such blood he'd shed, in anguish keen he swooned. Before his face his lady Bramimunde bewailed and cried with very bitter rue. 20,000 and more around him stood, all of them cursed Carlun and France the Douce. Then Apollin in's grotto they surround, and threaten him, and ugly words pronounce. Such shame on us, vile God! Why bringest thou? This is our king, wherefore dost him confound? Who served thee oft, ill recompense hath found. Then they take off his sceptre and his crown, with their hands hang him from a column down. Among their feet trample him on the ground, with great cudgels they battle him and trounce. From Tervagant his carbuncle they impound, and Mahomet into a ditch fling out, where swine and dogs defile him and devour. Out of his swoon awakens Marsilies, and has him borne his vaulted roof beneath. Many colours were painted there to see, and Bramimunde laments for him, the queen. Tearing her hair, caitiff herself she cleaps. Also these words cries very loud and clear: "Ah, Saragosse, henceforth forlorn thou'lt be Of the fair king that had thee in his keep. All those our gods have wrought great felony, Who in battle this morning failed at need. That admiral will show his cowardice, Unless he fight against that race hardy, Who are so fierce, for life they take no heed. That emperour with his blossoming beard Hath vassalage and very high folly. Battle to fight, he will not ever flee. Great grief it is, no man may slay him clean." That emperour, by his great majesty, Full 7 years in Spain now has he been, And castles there, and many cities seized. King Marsilies was therefore sore displeased. In the 1st year he sealed and sent his brief To Baligant into Babylony. 'Twas the admiral, old in antiquity, That clean outlived Omer and Virgily. To Saragosse with succour bade him speed, For, if he failed, Marsile his gods would leave. All his idols he worshipped formerly He would receive blest Christianity, And reconciled to Charlemagne would be. Long time that one came not, far off was he. Through 40 realms he did his tribes rally. His great dromonds he made them all ready, Barges and skiffs and ships and galleries, Neath Alexandre, a haven next the sea. In readiness he gat his whole navy. That was in May, 1st summer of the year. All of his hosts he launched upon the sea. Great are the hosts of that opposed race, With speed they sail, they steer and navigate. High on their yards at their mast heads they place Lanterns enough, and carbuncles so great, Thence, from above, such light they dissipate. The sea's more clear at midnight than by day. And when they come into the land of Spain, All that country lightens and shines again. Of their coming Marsile has heard the tale. The pagan race would never rest, but come Out of the sea, where the sweet waters run. They leave Marbris, they leave behind Marbrus. Upstream by seaward doth all their navy turn. Lanterns they have, and carbuncles enough, That all night long and very clearly burn. Upon that day they come to Sarraguce. Clear is that day, and the sun radiant. Out of his barge issues their admiral, Espanaliz goes forth at his right hand. 17 kings follow him in a band, counts too and dukes, I cannot tell of that. Where in a field, midway, a laurel stands. On the green grass they spread a white silk mat, set a fold-stool there, made of olifant. Sits him thereon the pagan Baligant, and all the rest in rows about him stand. The lord of them speaks before any man: "Listen to me, free knights and valiant. Charles the King, the Emperor of the Franks, shall not eat bread, save when that I command. Throughout all Spain great war with me he's had. I will go seek him now, into douce France. I will not cease, while I'm a living man, Till be slain, or fall between my hands." Upon his knee his right hand glove he slaps. He is fast bound by all that he has said. He will not fail, for all the gold neath heav'n, but go to Aix, where Charles' court is held. His men applaud, for so they counselled. After he called 2 of his chevaliers, one Clarifan and the other Clarien. "You are the sons of King Maltraien. Freely was, want my messages to bear. You I command to Sarraguce to fare. Marsiliun on my part you shall tell, Against the Franks I'm come to give him help. Find I their host, great battle shall be there. Give him this glove, that's stitched with golden thread. On his right hand let it be worn and held. This little wand of fine gold take as well. Bid him come here, his homage to declare. To France I'll go, and war with Charles again. Save at my feet he kneel, and mercy beg. Save all the laws of Christians he forget. I'll take away the crown from off his head." Answer pagans: "Sire, you say very well." Said Baligant: "But canter now, barons, take one the wand, and the other one the glove." These answer him: "Dear lord, it shall be done." Canter so far to Sarraguce they come, Pass through 10 gates, across 4 bridges run, Through all the streets wherein the burghers crowd. When they draw nigh the citadel above, From the palace they hear a mighty sound. About that place are seen pagans enough, Who weep and cry, with grief are waxen wood, And curse their gods, Tervagan and Mahom, And Apollon, from whom no help is come. Says each to each: "Caitiffs, what shall be done? For upon us confusion vile is come. Now have we lost our King Marsiliun, For yesterday his hand Count Roland's cut. We'll have no more fair Jerusaleu his son. The whole of Spain henceforward is undone." Both messengers on the terrace dismount. Horses they leave under an olive tree, Which by the reins to Sarrazins do lead. Those messengers have wrapped them in their weeds. To the palace they climb the topmost steep. When they're come in the vaulted roof beneath, Marsilium with courtesy they greet: "May Mahumet, who all of us doth keep, And Tervagan, and our lord Apolline, Preserve the king, and guard from harm the queen." Says Bramimunde: "Great foolishness I hear. Those gods of ours in cowardice are steeped. In Roncesvalles they wrought an evil deed. Our chevaliers they let be slain in heaps. My lord they failed in battle, in his need. Never again will he his right hand see. For that which Count Roland hath made him bleed, All our whole Spain shall be for Charles to keep. Miserable! What shall become of me? Alas, that I've no man to slay me clean." Says Clarien: "My lady, say not that. We're messengers from pagan Baligant. To Marsilies he says he'll be warrant, So sends him here his glove, also this wand. Vessels we have, are moored by Seir's bank, Barges and skiffs and galleys 4,000, Dromonds are there, I cannot speak of that. Our admiral is wealthy and puissant, And Charlemagne he will go seek through France, And quittance give him, dead or recreant." Says Bramimunde: "Unlucky journey that! Far nearer here you'll light upon the Franks. For 7 years he's stayed now in this land. That Emperour is bold and combatant, Rather he'll die than from the field draw back. No king neath heaven above a child he ranks. Charles hath no fear for any living man. Says Marsilies the king, "Now let that be." To the messengers: "Sirs, pray you, speak to me. I am held fast by death, as ye may see. No son have I, nor daughter to succeed. That one I had, they slew him yestereve. Bid you, my lord, he come to see me here. Rights over Spain that admiral hath he. My claim to him, if he will take't, I yield. But from the Franks he then must set her free. 'Gainst Charlemagne I'll show him strategy. Within a month from now he'll conquered be. Of Sarraguce you'll carry him the keys. He'll go not hence, say, if he trusts in me." They answer him: "Sir, 'tis the truth you speak." Then says Marsile: "The Emperour, Charles the Great, Hath slain my men, and all my land laid waste. My cities are broken and violate. He lay this night upon the river Sebre. I've counted well, 'tis 7 leagues away. Bid the admiral, leading his host this way, Do battle here, this word to him convey." Gives them the keys of Sarraguce her gates. Both messengers their leave of him do take. Upon that word bow down and turn away. Both messengers did on their horses mount. From that city nimbly they issued out. Then, sore afraid, their admiral they sought, To whom the keys of Sarraguce they brought. Says Baligant: "Speak now, what have ye found? Where's Marsilies to come to me was bound?" Says Clarien: "To death he's stricken down. The Emperour was in the pass but now. To France the Douce he would be homeward bound. Rearward he set, to save his great honour. His nephew there installed, Roland's the count, And Oliver, the dozen peers around. 1,000 score of Franks in armour found. Marsile the king fought with them there, so proud. He and Rollanz upon that field did joust. With Durendal he dealt him such a clout, From his body he cut the right hand down. His son is dead, in whom his heart was bound, And the barons that service to him vowed. Fleeing he came, he could no more hold out. That Emperour has chased him well enow. The king implores, you'll hasten with succour. Yields to you Spain, his kingdom and his crown." And Baligant begins to think, and frowns. Such grief he has, doth nearly him confound. "Sir Admiral," said to him Clariens, "In Rencesvals was yesterday battle. Dead is Rollanz and that Count Oliver, The dozen peers whom Charles so cherished, And of their Franks are 20,000 dead. King Marsilies of his right hand bereft, And the Emperour chased him enow from thence. Throughout this land no chevalier is left, But he be slain, or drowned in Sebre's bed. By river side the Franks have pitched their tents. Into this land so near to us they've crept. But if you will, grief shall go with them hence." And Baligant looked on him proudly then, And his courage grew joyous and content. From the faldstool upon his feet he leapt, Then cried aloud: "Barons, too long ye've slept! Forth from your ships issue, mount, canter well! If he flee not, that Charlemagne the eld, King Marsilies, shall somehow be avenged. For his right hand I'll pay him back an head." Pagan Arabs out of their ships issue, Then mount upon their horses and their mules, And canter forth. Nay, what more might they do? Their admiral, by whom they all were ruled, Called up to him Gemelfin, whom he knew: "I give command of all my hosts to you." On a brown horse mounted, as he was used, And in his train he took with him 4 dukes. Cantered so far, he came to Sarraguce. Dismounted on a floor of marble blue, Where 4 counts were, who by his stirrup stood. Up by the steps the palace came into. To meet him there came running Bramimunde, Who said to him: "Accursed from the womb, That in such shame my sovereign lord I lose!" Fell at his feet. That admiral her took. In grief they came up into Marsile's room. King Marsilies, when he sees Baligant, calls to him then 2 Spanish Sarazands: "Take me by the arms, and so lift up my back." One of his gloves he takes in his left hand. Then says Marsile: "Sire, King and Admiral, quittance I give you here of all my land, With Sarraguce, and the honour thereto hangs. Myself I've lost, my army every man." He answers him: "Therefore the more I'm sad. No long discourse together may we have. Full well I know, Charles waits not our attack. I take the glove from you in spite of that." He turned away in tears, such grief he had. Down by the steps, out of the palace ran, Mounted his horse, to his people galloped back, Cantered so far, he came before his band. From hour to hour then, as he went, he sang: "Pagans, come on! Already flee the Franks!" In morning time, when the dawn breaks at last, Awakened is that Emperour Charles. Saint Gabriel, who on God's part him guards, Raises his hand, the sign upon him marks. Rises the King, his arms aside he's cast. The others then, through all the host, disarm. After they mount, by virtue canter fast Through those long ways, and through those roads so large. They go to see the marvellous damage In Roncesvalles, there where the battle was. In Roncesvalles is Charles entered, Begins to weep for those he finds there dead. Says to the Franks: "My lords, restrain your steps, Since I myself alone should go ahead, For my nephew, whom I would find again. At Aix I was, upon the feast Noel. Vaunted them there my valiant chevaliers, Of battles great and very hot contests. With reason thus I heard Roland speak then: He would not die in any foreign realm, Ere he'd surpassed his peers and all his men. To the foe's land he would have turned his head, Conqueringly his gallant life he'ld end. Further than one a little wand could send, Before the rest he's on a peak mounted." When the Emperour went seeking his nephew, He found the grass and every flower that bloomed Turned scarlet, with our barons' blood imbrued. Pity he felt, he could but weep for rue. Beneath 2 trees he climbed the hill and looked, And Rollant's strokes on 3 terraces knew, On the green grass saw lying his nephew. 'Tis nothing strange that Charles' anger grew, Dismounted then and went; his heart was full, In his 2 hands the count's body he took. With anguish keen he fell on him and swooned. That Emperour is from his swoon revived, Names the Duke and the Count Asseline, Geoffrey d'Anjou and his brother Thierry, Take up the King, bear him beneath a pine. There on the ground he sees his nephew lie, Most sweetly then begins he to repine: "Roland, my friend, may God to thee be kind! Never beheld any man such a knight, So to engage, and so to end a fight. Now my honour is turned into decline." Charles swoons again, he cannot stand upright. Charles the King returned out of his swoon. Him in their hands 4 of his barons took. He looked to the earth, saw lying his nephew. All colourless his lusty body grew. He turned his eyes, were very shadowful. Charles complained in amity and truth: "Roland, my friend, God lay thee mid the blooms of Paradise, Among the glorious. Thou camest to Spain In evil tide, Seigneur. Day shall not dawn, For thee I've no dolour. How perishes My strength and my valour! None shall I have now to sustain my honour. I think I've not one friend 'neath heaven's roof. Kinsmen I have, but none of them's so proof." He tore his locks, till both his hands were full. 65,000 francs had such great dolour, There was not one but sorely wept for rue. "Roland, my friend, to France I will away. When at Loame I'm in my hall again, Strange men will come from many far domains, who will ask me, Where's that Count, that Capitaine? I'll say to them that he is dead in Spain. In bitter grief henceforward shall I reign. Day shall not dawn, I weep not nor complain. Roland, my friend, fair youth that bast the bell, when I arrive at Aix in my chapelle, men coming there will ask what news I tell. I'll say to them, Marvellous news and fell! My nephew's dead, who won for me such realms. Against me then the Saxon will rebel, Hunger, Bulgar, and many hostile men, Romain, Puyane, all those are in Parlerne, And in Afrique, and those in Califerne. Afresh then will my pain and sufferance swell. For who will lead my armies with such strength, When he is slain, that all our days us led? Ah, France the Douce, now art thou deserted! Such grief I have, that I would fain be dead. All his white beard he hath begun to rend, Tore with both hands the hair out of his head. 500,000 Franks swooned on the earth and fell. Roland, my friend, God show thee his mercy. In Paradise repose the soul of thee. Who hath thee slain, exile for France decreed, I'll live no more, so bitter is my grief, For my household, who have been slain for me. God grant me this, the Son of Saint Mary, Ere I am come to the master pass of seas, From my body my soul at length go free. Among their souls let mine in glory be, And let my flesh upon their flesh be heaped. Still his white beard he tears, and his eyes weep. Duke Naimes says, his wrath is great indeed. "Sire Emperour," Gefrei d'Anjou implored, "Let not your grief to such excess be wrought. Bid that our men through all this field be sought, Whom those of Spain have in the battle caught. In a charnel command that they be borne." Answered the King, "Sound then upon your horn." Gefrei d'Anjou upon his trumpet sounds, As Charles bade them, all the Franks dismount. All of their friends, whose bodies they have found, To a charnel speedily they bring down. Bishops there are, and abbots there enow, Canons and monks, vicars with shaven crowns. Absolution in God's name they've pronounced. Incense and myrrh with precious gums they've ground, And lustily they've swung the censers round. With honour great they've laid them in the ground. They've left them there; what else might they do now? That Emperour sets Rollant on one side, And Oliver, and the Archbishop Turpine. Their bodies bids open before his eyes, And all their hearts in silken veils to wind, And set them in coffers of marble white. After, they take the bodies of those knights, Each of the three is wrapped in a deer's hide. They're washen well in allspice and in wine. The King commands Thébault and Gebuin, Marquis Othon, Milun the Count besides, Along the road in 3 wagons to drive. They're covered well with carpets galazine. Now to be off with that Emperour Charles, When pagans, lo! comes surging the vanguard. 2 messengers come from their ranks forward, From the admiral bring challenge to combat. "'Tis not yet time, proud King, that thou depart. Lo, Baligant comes cantering afterward. Great are the hosts he leads from Arab parts. This day we'll see if thou hast vassalage." Charles the King his snowy beard has clasped, Remembering his sorrow and damage. Haughtily then his people all regards. In a loud voice he cries with all his heart: "Barons and Franks, to horse, I say, to arms!" End of verses 187 to 214.